International borders are places of transition. In times of harmony, traffic flows smoothly, and travelers pass between nations with ease. In times of crisis, disasters, natural or man-made, the boundaries between nations can become places of conflict, and when the worst happens, they close the gates. In the northwest corner of Minnesota, tucked in between the borders of North Dakota and Manitoba, is the tiny near-ghost town of Noise, and at one time, people passed through the port of entry here on a daily basis. Canadians looking to buy affordable goods on the American side, and Americans looking to take advantage of the nightlife and recreation in the somewhat larger town of Emerson north of the border. At the time we visited in 2013, this place was abandoned, the border gated and surveilled by still active electronic means, and it was easy to imagine a Hollywood location manager arranging for prop cars to be placed here for a blockbuster movie about the end, the script for the revelatory scene written in dramatic fashion. An exhausted group of survivors stumbles upon this former port of entry with burned-out cars stretching to the horizon. They wander between the lines of vehicles, scavenge for items they can use, forced to face the reality of families destroyed while waiting here to cross the border when the final apocalypse came. So, what happened to this place? The story is rooted in the century prior to 9/11, when the US-Canadian border was the longest unguarded border in the world. Half of the ports of entry between the two nations were unguarded at night. In many small, rural border crossings, agents would simply put orange cones in the road at night to alert travelers that the border was closed. They were expected to turn around and go through a 24-hour port of entry on the honor system. After the terrorist attacks of 2001, however, the longest unguarded border in the world began a transition to guarded status. U.S. Customs and the INS were among 22 agencies consolidated under the Department of Homeland Security, and $100 billion have been spent on border protection since. Tightened security led to port closings on both sides of the border. In 2003, Emerson, Manitoba closed their port of entry, and the Noise station on the American side followed in 2006, with operations moving to the 24-hour border station in Pembina, North Dakota, just down the road. Noise population dwindled as residents formerly employed in border operations moved on to greener pastures, and today, only a few residents remain in a town that once made its living on the business of international travel. The former border station was for sale at the time we visited, and 1 year later, in August of 2014, an unknown bidder purchased the property in a government auction with a high bid of $52,113. Today, the Noise Depot is still in operation under the command of the Pembina Port of Entry staff, but all other international traffic is routed through Pembina, leaving Noise as a lonely relic of a simpler time along the US-Canadian border.